It's Thursday, June 15th, and this is now on HNN. Mahealani Richardson takes us to Juneau, Alaska for Hokulea's global launch ceremony.
The NTSB releases its final report in the investigation of a 2021 cargo plane crash into waters off West Oahu. A Campbell High senior is facing felony charges for allegedly cyberbullying a disabled peer. Plus this.
I'm going to run for president.
A new candidate enters the race for the GOP nomination. I'm Natalie Brand with a look at how the Republican presidential hopefuls are responding to questions about former President Trump's indictment.
These stories and more coming up on This Is Now. Aloha and good afternoon. Thank you for joining us right here on This Is Now. The global launch ceremony for Hokulea is a celebration and coming together of Pacific cultures after nearly 50 years since Hokulea's first long-distance voyage.
That's right. Moana Nui Akea is considered the longest and most dangerous voyage in its history. Mahealani Richardson joins us from Juneau, Alaska. Mahea, what can you tell us about this ceremony?
Oh, aloha, Ash and Dill, and I can tell you that the ceremony just started about 15 minutes ago, and it is indoors here at the University of Alaska Southeast because of an approaching storm. Actually, the weather started beautiful today, and then now we're starting to see the rain, and so they just wanted to bring things inside for safety reasons. And believe it or not, behind me, this is actually a basketball court. So they took 2 days to really transform it into a place where it can be appropriate for ceremonies of the Alaska Native peoples and Native Hawaiians and the crew members of the Hokulea who are here on stage right now. There's going to be several presentations of gifts. They're on stage to receive these gifts, to be blessed for their journey, and to make sure that they are safe along the way. You know, Nainoa Thompson, the president of the Polynesian Voyaging Society, says that this is a dangerous voyage, especially in the Gulf of Alaska. And so they're not just doing this voyage by themselves, this 4-year voyage all the way around the Pacific. They're doing it with the help of people who know this area, know this land, and know this water here. So today it is a celebration of culture, a coming together of Native Hawaiians, a delegation of 90 people from Hawaii, and also the Tlingit, Haida, and Shimsham tribes, and several tribes in this area of Southeast Alaska.
Now, Mahea, you mentioned that the weather there hasn't exactly been cooperating. Tell us a little bit about that and how this has impacted their plans.
Well, the crew of the Hokulea is prepared for anything, and sometimes the weather changes very rapidly just within hours, and that's what we've noticed both in Juneau and Yakutat, Alaska. And so at this point, the crew is planning to actually depart Juneau on Saturday, but they're still just monitoring the weather. Just for today, this is the ceremonial departure. So this is where they take the time to say thank you to all of the tribes, all of the families, people that they consider ohana, who have received them and then will bless them as they go on this very long journey.
They've been in Alaska. What is their mood like now today? You know, it's getting closer to this actual launch day. Are they excited? Are there nerves? How are they feeling?
I would say, Ash, they're feeling all of that. You know, several crew members just flew in last night. And what's happening is it's like a crew change or a shift change. You've had the crew members who are on the last leg and then the new crew members who flew in last night, and there was no rest for the weary. We spoke to Dino Miranda. He's going to be going on this next leg, leaving Juneau. He literally got off the plane, got onto a canoe to go see a glacier up close, and then he went to the canoe for more ceremonies and safety briefings. And so there's a lot to do here for the crew, but most importantly, safety is their #1 factor. And so that's why they need to wait to make sure that it's safe for the canoe to launch.
Now, Mahea, you've been doing some amazing reporting up there, and we're so excited to see this highlighted. What has been your favorite part about this journey so far?
Oh, it's really hard to figure out one journey, but I can tell you that just seeing the expressions on people's faces, that has really filled my heart. Whether it's seeing eagles fly all around us, seeing the glacier, or really just being reconnected with family, that has been really incredible. You know, for some of the crew members of the Hokulea, it is a bittersweet launch, and we've seen many, many tears. There were leaders that are no longer with us, including Byron Malat. He was an integral part of the Polynesian Voyaging Society here in Alaska because of that donation of logs more than 30 years ago. And so it was bittersweet for some of the crew members. I saw tears in their eyes because they know that their elders are still with them on this very long and dangerous voyage.
Yeah, just a few more questions for you, Mahea. Such powerful things up there. What has the exchange of cultures been like? Of course, there's a large Hawaii delegation there, but the native population there is also, our indigenous population, is also showcasing their own culture. Tell us a little bit about that exchange.
Well, you know, UH President David Lasner said it best, and he said that this voyage is really close to home. And what he really liked about it, compared to other voyages, is because they are saying hello and welcome to all of their friends and loved ones throughout the Pacific. So they're going to be going down Alaska, they're going to go to Vancouver, British Columbia, and also they'll be going through Sarawak, Micronesia, Polynesia, and then they'll be ending up in Japan and Los Angeles. So this is really a long journey that they wanted to make sure that people are with them on this trip.
All right, Mahea, so what can we expect over the next few days until launch day? What will the crew be doing?
Well, from now until perhaps Saturday, they're just monitoring the weather. They're trying to get in some fun activities at the same time, just to get some sleep and get enough rest for this very long journey. And as I mentioned, they're going to be visiting several indigenous communities. It's going to be more than 40 countries that they'll be visiting, 300 indigenous communities. So they have to be ready both spiritually, mentally, and physically.
Our Mahealani Richardson in Juneau, Alaska. Thank you so much for your amazing reports as you wind down your journey there. Safe travels, and we are looking forward to later versions of your reports on Hawaii News Now later this evening. Aloha, Mahea. Thank you. So we also want to turn now to some other news of the day.
Yeah, that's right. The NTSB has issued its final report in the investigation of a cargo plane that crashed in waters off Oahu in July 2021. The NTSB says Transair Flight 810 experienced a partial loss of power in the right engine shortly after takeoff, and that led to a water ditching in the ocean about 2 miles from Kilauea around 11 and a half minutes later. 2 pilots were on board the Boeing 737 and were rescued. One was critically injured and the other was in serious condition. Now, through its investigation, the NTSB says during takeoff, the cockpit voice recorder recorded a thud and the sound of a low-frequency vibration. During the flight, while trying to determine what was wrong, the report says the first officer misidentified the affected engine and the captain failed to verify the information. Officials say maintenance was not a factor in this accident. To read the full report, visit our website, hawaiinewsnow.com.
The 2-week-old strike against Hawaii Gas is over. The workers' union ratified a new contract last night, providing a 15% pay raise over 3 years. That's about half of what Local 996 asked for, but the deal also includes a flat rate for workers' medical insurance, which equals about 10% of their premium. This covers more than 200 Teamsters who had been blocking some delivery trucks with their picketing, causing some customers to run out of propane. In a statement, the union said in part, quote, "We believe this agreement is a win for everyone involved. We know that our decision to strike impacted many people, and we appreciate the patience and understanding shown by the public," end quote. The president of Hawaii Gas also thanked the public for their patience, saying, "This situation has been tough for everyone, and we know we will need to find ways to heal and come back together as one ohana."
State sheriffs arrested a 19-year-old Campbell High senior accused of taking a photo of a freshman with severe disabilities, using the school urinal, and then posting it on social media. Officials say Kagan Huddy Esperanza was indicted on 2 counts of privacy violation. They're Class C felonies punishable by up to 5 years in prison and $10,000 in fines. Esperanza was released after posting $25,000 bail. He'll be arraigned in court on Monday.
More proposed changes for the ever-changing Ward Village. More than 20 restaurants and shops in Kaka'ako will soon have to make way for a new project by developer Howard Hughes. Pending the state's approval, the company wants to build 2 mixed-use condos along with retail and a 1-acre community park at Ala Moana Boulevard and Kamake'e Street, where Ward Center is now. It says all tenants will be offered relocation assistance when the time comes. The towers will include about 400 units from 1-bed to 5-bedroom homes. Ward Center has been around since the early 80s. It is one of the oldest buildings left in the Ward area, and many customers and longtime business owners are sad to see it go.
Bittersweet, especially because there are places that I would go with my friends here, and of course Ryan's Grill, meeting my husband for our first date here, but what can you do?
It does look a little bit more upscale, and again, I hope they have some affordable housing.
No word yet on affordable housing, but the company said construction will provide about 800 jobs and create $70 million in state tax revenue.
While former President Donald Trump and his legal troubles continue to take oxygen away from the 2024 campaign, the Republican field for the nomination continues to grow. Natalie Brand has the latest.
Are you ready?
Former President Trump's campaign says it has raised more than $7 million in the face of a historic indictment. That includes more than $2 million brought in from a Bedminster, New Jersey fundraiser the day he was arraigned.
This is called election interference and yet another attempt to rig and steal a presidential election. But they will fail and we will win bigger and better than ever before.
Trump's legal battles continue to dominate the race for the Republican presidential nomination.
If my candidacy is going to be about responding to things that former President Trump did, then there's not going to be much of a candidacy. By the way, not for me and not for any other Republican nominees.
Miami Mayor Francis Suarez dodged interview questions about Trump after officially launching his White House bid.
I'm going to run for president.
With a video on Twitter Thursday morning. Out on the campaign trail, the Republican hopefuls are facing new questions about whether they'd pardon Trump if elected president. Former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley pledged to pardon Trump, saying it would be bad for the country to see him in jail. Trump's former vice president wouldn't say one way or the other.
There are serious charges in this indictment. Now, the president's entitled to make his defense. I look forward to hearing what defense he might have, but I can't defend what is alleged. While most GOP candidates are treading lightly, Arkansas Governor Asa Hutchinson and former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie have been the most vocal critics. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Washington.
The Supreme Court handed a major win to Native Americans today by rejecting a challenge at a federal law aimed at protecting children and tribal identity. In a 7-2 vote, the court turned away a series of claims seeking to invalidate parts of the Indian Child Welfare Act enacted in 1978 to keep Native American children with their tribes. Among the provisions challenged was one that gives preference to Native Americans seeking to foster or adopt Native American children. President Joe Biden said in a statement that the decision keeps in place a vital protection for tribal sovereignty and Native children. The court, in a ruling authored by Justice Amy Coney Barrett, said the challengers did not have legal standing to contest whether the preference provisions violated the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment by discriminating on the basis of race. The ruling will come as a major relief to tribes who were concerned that the court would weaken or entirely strike down a law that plays an important role in maintaining tribal identity.
Former British Prime Minister Boris Johnson deliberately misled Parliament about the lockdown parties that undermine his credibility and contributed to his downfall. That's according to a report from a committee of lawmakers released today after a year-long investigation. The scathing report found that Johnson's actions and his response to the investigative committee were such a flagrant violation of the rules that they warranted a 90-day suspension from Parliament. It's a condemning indictment of the former prime minister's conduct, but the recommendation is largely symbolic because Johnson quit as a lawmaker on Friday after the committee informed him of its conclusions. Willamette Valley Fruit Company is voluntarily recalling frozen strawberry products potentially contaminated with hepatitis A. They were sold at Walmart stores in Hawaii and include Great Value sliced strawberries, Great Value mixed fruit, and Great Valley antioxidant blend. If you have the recalled products, just throw them out or return them to the store for a refund.
This weekend, the Honolulu AIDS Walk returns to Kapi'olani Park and Bandstand for its 32nd annual event. It's the largest fundraiser in Hawaii for organizations that help those living with HIV and AIDS. Every year, the event not only brings in thousands of dollars for local nonprofits and healthcare groups, it's also a chance for the LGBTQ+ community and its allies to show support for those living with the disease. They also hope to shatter misconceptions around the disease and educate people that thanks to medical advancements, it is no longer a death sentence.
It's not just a gay disease. Yes, there is a high prevalence amongst our community, and so we have to be extra vigilant, but it can really affect anyone. And as we know, there's so many different misconceptions. You're not going to get it from me hugging you. You're not going to get it from me kissing you. You're going to get it from blood-to-blood contact, and we know that. So it's just all about knowledge, and the more knowledge we can put out there, the less stigma we'll have amongst our community.
Right after gay men, Ogata says straight women of color are the second most at-risk demographic. If you'd like to support the walk through a donation or their upcoming silent auction, look for the story on our website for a link to details.
We're getting the first look at the newest tech UH is using to study ocean waters surrounding Hawaii. Casey Lund reports from Magic Island.
Aloha from Magic Island, learning a little bit more about the important work that UH and some of their partners are doing with sail drones. And to learn a little bit more about what those are, Amy Markell is with us. She's a PhD student in the Department of Oceanography at UH. So those are going around Oahu right now. They've been going around all the islands. They'll end up on Kauai and Niihau, correct? Tell me a little bit about what a sail drone is and the data that they're aiming to collect.
So sail drones are unmanned sailboats that actually have sensors on them to measure water quality. They're 23 feet long and as tall as multiple people. And they are being monitored 24/7 by our company Sail Drones. So even though they are unmanned, they're not abandoned. And they're helping us collect that water chemistry data around the islands.
And so I know that UH ocean researchers have buoys that collect data like this already. What is the advantage of having something that can move, that can adjust, and collect things from different areas?
So the buoys give us an idea of how the places are changing over time, whereas the sail drones will give us a better idea about how things are changing spatially around each of the islands. So give us an insight to different areas of the coastline and how they might be more vulnerable than others.
And I think that's the thing. And Chris Sabine, who we talked to earlier today on Sunrise, Vice Provost of Research and Scholarship, told us that there's not a lot we can do locally about the global problems, but this helps us kind of focus in a little bit more locally. And again, what can some of those causes be for like a hotspot with more acidity?
Right. So a hotspot with more acidity, maybe there might be a localized impact of pollution or land-based sources of pollution that exacerbate the impacts of acidification in these localized spots. So the sail drone data will help us to identify these particularly vulnerable sites around our islands.
And then last question, Amy, how much longer will they be out? I know it started on April 1. Folks, again, should steer clear. They're not abandoned, but how much longer will they be in the waters off Hawaii?
They'll be here for the rest of the summer. They'll probably finish up around the end of August to beginning of September.
Very cool. Amy Markell, thank you so much for being with us today. Again, we'll have more information at HawaiiNewsNow.com. From Magic Island, I'm Casey Lund. We'll send things back to you for now.
Take a look at this new video. USGS released this video of scientists at the site of the Kilauea eruption. It shows the Hawaiian Volcano Observatory geologists taking lava samples from new vents in the Halema'uma'u crater on June 7th. These scientists took samples while wearing protective gear and cooled down the lava in buckets of water. The eruption continues to create a lava lake localized in the southwest wall of Halema'uma'u. The lava lake rose by 1.5 feet yesterday, though the USGS says that the volcano is slowing down over time. Activity has dwindled down to only one active vent. Officials say that volcanic gas emissions remain elevated. Yesterday alone, the volcano put out around 5,300 tons of sulfur dioxide. Let's go ahead and give you a live look outside now. This is a runway at Honolulu's airport, and as a matter of fact, a plane just took off seconds ago. We missed it in the shot here, but some wild weather out there, some rain popping up throughout the state. And earlier, in the show, I looked at this camera and half of the runway was visible.
Yeah.
So the rain is really coming down, but it's on the move there.
And definitely windy too. Look at the camera bouncing out there. For more on what we can expect in your forecast, let's send it over to our friend Guy Hagi.
All right, we got the best weather on the planet, but that does include some passing showers. And at times, some of those showers might even be briefly heavy with, pockets of heavy rainfall coming. And also there's a chance for enhanced showers coming in between Sunday and Monday of next week. But most of the rain coming in is moderate to light. If there were to be heavy, we'd see yellows and oranges. We just don't see that on the model. So your 7-day forecast going into the holiday weekend is looking fantastic. For Father's Day, take them outside and enjoy all the beautiful conditions out there. But again, there will be a few passing showers, especially between Sunday and Monday for windward sides. For Juneteenth holiday, might be a little damp to start the day, and then we'll see those afternoon sunshine. And then the change coming is on Tuesday. That's when the winds significantly back down. Humidity levels will be climbing. Air quality might be a little suspect for some areas. But otherwise, we're going to see a nice long stretch of really comfortable trade wind conditions.
Time to go ahead and take a look at some news from the feeds. A mother and daughter in Louisiana were arrested for falsifying documents for an adult to attend high school.
Now, this comes after a tip from campus turned into a larger investigation. Ariel Brumfield has more.
It all started with a mother wanting her daughter to learn English, but now the mother-daughter duo are facing charges.
A copy of which looked just like a real birth certificate on its face.
Sheriff Champagne says 46-year-old Marta Serrano Alvarado and her daughter, 28-year-old Marta Yesenia Gutierrez Serrano, were arrested for falsifying a birth certificate from Honduras that listed the 28-year-old as 17 and enrolling her to Hanville High School, all in an attempt to learn English.
Whether you're a U.S. citizen, a foreign national, some type of immigrant, no matter what status, students are entitled to enroll in our public school system, and we have to provide them with an education. And inquiring about their immigration status is not done.
Serrano, who was enrolled at Hanville as a 9th grader, we learned had just moved to the U.S. a few years ago, processed by a U.S. agent. She attended school at Hanville for a year.
She was not a disciplinary problem. She violated no laws in the community that we had to deal with her. As far as we know, she did nothing inappropriate at all, merely attended school. The information we got about the reason for her doing was simple. She wanted to learn English.
St. Charles Parish Schools now reassessing how it certifies enrollment and auditing current documents.
As a result of this discovery, we are conducting an audit of enrollment documents for students currently enrolled in St. Charles Parish Public Schools. We are reviewing student enrollment policy and procedures, and we will make enhancements based upon that review.
We apologize for that little blip there in the middle, but let's go ahead and take a look now at some good news. Good news right now. We're going to turn our attention to Japan, where people, the Japanese love their fruits, right?
Yes.
Millions for melons. Take a look at this. A premium watermelon sold for quite a hefty price there in Japan. It sold for premium watermelon densuke was sold for around $4,200 each in the season's first auction in northern Japan. The maximum price reached this year at the Sapporo Central Wholesale Market was the second highest on record, behind $5,000 reached in 2019. A Sapporo supermarket made the winning bid. Densuke watermelons are grown in the Hokkaido town of Toma and have a dark green rind that looks almost black.
Yeah, I want to see the inside though.
Yeah, I want to taste it. That would be lovely. Let's go ahead and end today with one more live look out at the runway. It's some wet weather all around Oahu. Be sure to pack your umbrella if you're out and about.
Aloha.